Hi, this is Steve Cochran, and you're listening to Live from My Office, and I would love to hear what you think. So drop me an email at thecochranshow@gmail.com. I got a good news story for you today, and it involves an essential manufacturer. His name is Philip Preston. He's the president and CEO of a company called Polyscience. It's in Niles, near Chicago. They're making sure that it's the absolute right temperature for manufacturers that are needed in the production lines, to making sure that the hospitals have what they need, whether it's ventilators or making the masks and the headgear, all the things that are in line for the doctors and the nurses, the things they need, and they're here to help at Polyscience. Let's get after it. The Live from My Office episode today, it's Philip Preston, president and CEO of Polyscience. Here's Philip and me, Steve Cochran, on Live from My Office.
Well, Polyscience is a manufacturer of liquid temperature control equipment. And while that may sound somewhat non-essential, it actually touches our lives every day in many, many ways. And with this pandemic that we're all faced with, our equipment is being used in bioreactors for drug development, PCR or polymerase chain reaction for DNA amplification, electrophoresis for DNA separation, chromatography, spectrometers, mass spectrometers, a lot of areas, and even in just simple general purpose water baths to heat and control the temperature of samples so they can grow bugs in the lab environment. So really it's crossing into your life in thousands of ways every day.
Yeah, and what's amazing to people who know me is hearing the description of that and some of the words you use, they're going, Steve doesn't understand any of that. But in fact, I do, Philip, I do. So as an essential manufacturer, does that mean you've had to retool the Polyscience plant, or is it a great fit that this temperature control business you're already in is crucial? Because I would think manufacturing ventilators and things of that nature, temperature control would be crucial in a 24/7 operation.
Well, yes, we have not needed to retool the plant other than taking measures to, for proper safety of the employees that are there. I have told people before that I bought more laptops than rolls of toilet paper. So because we've now moved all of customer service, purchasing, sales, and many other departments to work from home. But I think one of the challenges we've had then is to make sure that the people in assembly can remain very safe and still keep product going out the door to service the laboratory industry. Reconfiguring lunchrooms so no one is sitting closer than 10 feet apart, and
right.
Staggering break times and such. And we're fortunate that inherent to our production, there is already a good deal of social distancing.
So what role specifically does Polyscience play in this? Where does temperature control fit into the work that the frontline heroes are trying to do to take care of the rest of us?
Well, certainly, the development of drugs and that type of work is being done, largely with PCR equipment, which requires temperature control. Additionally, once then the drug development moves to the next stages, bioreactors become a critical component. All of this equipment, temperature control is an essential component of that.
Sure. And do you network with the other manufacturers on what's needed, or who puts all of these ideas and businesses together for the end product?
Well, fortunately, these are customers we've worked with in many cases for decades. And the leading analytical instrumentation manufacturers in the world, have relied on Polyscience for their temperature control needs. There might be a few things that we are doing today that step a little beyond our traditional base. things that I'm doing more personally that I think are really, I feel, a commitment to what can we do as, a business leader to try and improve this situation. We're all in a real difficult position today. And, given that I'm working from home, I reached out to a lot of customers and friends throughout the world to see if we can, if I'm able to source things like N95 masks, which the hospitals are in short supply on, and trying to actually working with another company right now to see if I can throw some of our assembly resources to help them rapidly bring to market a splitter for ventilators. And this is outside of our traditional core business at PolyScience, but I see this as these are short-term things that I hope I can do and PolyScience can do to help the world get past this challenge.
And we've heard lately, and I mean lately meaning in the past few days, even though it's hard to even conceptualize time at this point, but we've heard a lot about these ventilators having to be split between two patients. Is the splitter technology ready to go, or is it still in the testing phases?
I'm going to say it's still in the testing phases. I think in theory, it is a fairly simplistic system that, could allow us to literally in a few weeks double the number of patients that could benefit from a ventilator. I think that the challenge that everyone's faced with today is making that determination if cross-contamination between patients is a potential risk.
Sure. Thus the testing, right?
Yes.
I know you have a very loyal, long-standing workforce. Speak for a moment, if you would, not just about your folks, but about the hardcore working folks in industries, essential industries and manufacturers all over the country that are having to step up right now. I mean, they're on the front lines too.
Yes, they are. And, this was something that was an extremely difficult decision for me in even asking anyone to come in. And, certainly everyone was given that choice. If for any reason someone didn't feel comfortable coming in, or if, perhaps they had childcare needs, they just didn't have the option to leave any kids at home. They didn't have backup. Certainly I'm completely respectful of that. But in general, I would say that the vast majority of our team really wanted to come back in. And I think that for essential manufacturers throughout the country, I think people have a sense of pride that they can contribute in some small way. The guys that I really feel sorry for right now, I've got a lot of friends in the restaurant business from
Sure.
our work in sous vide, and the whole hospitality industry has been devastated. And it's my sincere hope that our government will set aside any, disagreements and really focus on providing the help these guys need.
I want to thank Philip Preston and all the great people at PolyScience and Niles for being an essential manufacturer. We need you. We're glad you're there, and good for the employees for showing up at their own health risk, obviously. But so far, everybody's healthy at PolyScience. That's it for now. Live from my office.